Sandy Says Read. Welcome to the channel. We're going to do something completely different this evening. Tonight, I'm going to make a confession. And then we're going to do an unboxing. Okay, the confession is, can you guys even hear me? I should do the volume thing, shouldn't I? Sorry guys, hold please while I adjust the volume on this microphone, which is hidden now by the book. There's a reason the book is up front today. We're testing you all. Y'all can let me know in the comments below if the book up front is too obnoxious. I can put it back here again if you think it's too obnoxious. Or is this a great marketing strategy? Let me know. Okay, so my confession. My confession is I have Funko Popped Henry Bakerson. For those of you who have read the Choices trilogy, you're probably thinking, ooh, Henry probably liked that. Yeah, because he's, such a whore for attention, right? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is talk about who is Henry Bakerson, right? Okay, Henry Bakerson, he's a character in the Choices trilogy. He's a side character, but if you've read any of the reviews for this trilogy, you know that all the characters, whether they're main, side, secondary, tertiary, whatever, they all have like multiple layers to them, okay? So Henry has a lot of layers to him, and he has a lot of personality, a lot of flavor. Henry is awesome and great. So Henry helps me with marketing. He has always helped me with marketing. Back in 2007, when this series was first released to the public with the first publisher, Henry had his own blog. Yeah. Back then I had 8 blogs back in the day that I managed because I was insane. Probably still am, right? But back in the day, Henry had his own blog, and Henry would interview other authors' characters on that blog. I don't even remember what we called it. Well, anyway, but Henry had his own blog where he would interview other authors' characters and just talk up their books, the scenes they were in, that sort of thing. Because yeah, I've always helped other indie authors promote and market their stuff in free ways, online or however I could, right? Because, let's face it, indie authors, we don't have a whole lot of cash to spend on advertising and marketing, that kind of stuff. Ads are not cheap. So anything I can do, to help another author, I'm going to try to do. Which, if you follow this channel, you see I introduce an awful lot of indie authors by reviewing their books. I get their books, I purchase them, which is the first thing I can do. I read them, and then I review them. I introduce them to you. So Henry was helping me with that back in the day by, introducing other characters to the world as best we could. I don't blog anymore. I do not have that kind of time. And I let that go by the wayside. But Henry has been helping me with marketing here as of late. He recently was interviewed by Wild Women Authors blog. They interviewed Henry, and he was there to talk about Amanda Charisse and the Choices trilogy and that kind of good stuff. And it just kind of brought back to mind how I used to use that character and just share him with the world and share his quirkiness and just the funness of Henry. So I'm going to read to you this tiny little snippet describing Henry out of the second book in the trilogy. Because the first book, he's described, he's in there, he's Nigel's best friend, but his description in there is, pedestrian, I think. It is what it is. But in the second book, there's just a quick little description reintroducing Henry to readers who might not have read the first book and came in on the second book, which I don't recommend. I recommend reading the first book first. My goodness, you missed so much. So here we are in chapter 6. We've seen Henry in the book, but now we're diving into his character a little bit more in chapter 6. He and Trasson have just entered the parlor where they see Nigel and Charisse. Okay, so we have a touch of Trasson right here. So we're saying, let's see, his no-nonsense clothing hung loosely on a toned but thick frame, and right now, the chest of that frame heaved as if the old wizard prepared to spew fire into the room before him. He posed a stark contrast to the sunburnt, grisly ruffian next to him. Henry stood taller but thicker. No one would doubt his lack of discipline, but might mistake him for useful in a fight. His scraggly, dark beard wiggled as he screwed up his lips at the scene before him. He instinctively reached out to take Trasson by the shoulders, turning him back toward the hall, whispering, "Now, now, I'm sure there's some reasonable explanation." So we see Henry in his mischievous light there. We get to see Henry trying to protect his best friend from an angry wizard already. That's Henry right there in a nutshell. Henry he's a ruffian, he's a sailor, but he's a good guy deep down. That's Henry. So what I did is I made a Funko Pop of Henry because, oops, upside down, Funko. I saw online where you could make a Funko Pop of yourself. And I thought, well, screw that. I don't need a Funko Pop of me. I need a Funko Pop of my characters. They did not have really good, really good characteristics that you could put onto the Funko Pop characters. Like you couldn't make the eyes lavender or purple, so I couldn't really do Charisse, right? And really you couldn't make their eyes that Arcanan brown of the Arcanan citizens like Nigel and Henry have. But I figured, let's give this a try and see if we could do a Henry close enough to Henry and see what we came up with. So you guys are getting to see this at the same time I am. We're discovering this together. If I can get it out of here, we'll see. I'm up throwing this around the room. Well, I don't know. Look at this. Okay, so yeah. Oh, you guys, look, it's Henry. There's going to be a huge glare on it, right? Yeah, huge glare. Get it up there where there's no glare. There's Henry. Look, it's Henry Bakerson. Look at him. He's got his scraggly beard. Okay, I wonder if I can get him out of this box without you guys. I might have to do a little bit of editing on this in case I break this box, right? I can't get him out of the box. Hold, please. Oh, it's it's got a little seal on it. Okay, I'll break him out of the box. It is so there. Okay, there is so much glare. I'll break him out of the box so that you guys can see the stuff he's holding, that kind of thing. Because I gave him the chalice that's so important in the series. He's holding the chalice in one hand. Is he supposed to be? Yeah, he's got the chalice in one hand and he's got a wine bottle in the other. Because if you read the book, you know that the wine bottle is important to the chalice as well. So there's Henry helping me with my marketing to this day. I think that's it, you guys. Okay, this was pretty random, right? So thumbs up for great side characters who are fabulous, good best friends. And you please, hit the bell notification icon so that you're notified each time I do the random crazy things on this channel.